Hello Wolfpack, got this week's general market update here. We're going to be looking at Bitcoin, Ethereum, Bitcoin dominance as well, because some stuff's happening in the market right now that's quite interesting to see, and it actually just confirms what we've been saying for the last few months about the cyclical theory and how that's playing out perfectly this cycle. We'll get straight into it. We'll start with the lower time frames and we'll head into the longer time frames as the video progresses. So we can see on the Bitcoin hourly chart, we've got a pretty clear ascending triangle formation forming here, and in which we've currently made, and this is the interesting thing, right? It's like we've moved up massively. If we go to the 4-hourly chart, you can see how quickly we've moved up. We've moved up in the last 11 days from around 40k up 38% to 56k. So it would be logical to think that we're going to see a correction, but that actually doesn't look like it's going to be the case in terms of short-term TA. I will say though, I would like it to be the case, because if we see a correction, then we can see, Bitcoin take a bit of a break and altcoins have time to catch up, because altcoins are lagging very, very hard in the last couple of weeks in the market. But what we are actually seeing on Bitcoin is consistent higher lows. We can see higher low, higher low, higher low, and we've recently made a higher low, if you don't count this massive wick that we saw earlier today, which is just absolutely insane price action that shouldn't even be taken into account at this point. But we're pretty clearly facing a pretty strong resistance zone in the 56k region. Once we convincingly break 56k and see a daily close over 56k, which we haven't actually seen, an hourly close, sorry, we could be seeing that be the end of this triangle. We could be breaking to the upside to around 57.3k. I've got my eyes on 57.3k, possibly a bit higher than that, possibly even 60k, depending on how volatile this move can get. But the point is, the short term looks very nice for Bitcoin. We can bring up some of this stuff here. We have the RSI. The RSI is in a downtrend. We have a pretty clear bearish divergence on the RSI, which is worth noting. What we do have though on the MACD is a bullish MACD cross incoming in the next couple of hours, which should be able to make possibly another attempt at 56k, which would be interesting to see if that breaks, because we are running out of room here. This triangle should be ending by the 14th of October, so 3 days, but I would expect it to end pretty soon, because right now we're ranging between a price point of 54.4k and 56k, so only a $1,600 price range there. It's getting smaller and smaller by the hour, so obviously we're running out of time to make a move here. But the longer we actually bounce around in this triangle here, the more volatile the move is going to be, the more higher it goes or lower it goes. Honestly, as I said, I think it's going to go upwards. I think I'd lean towards it's going to go upwards, but thinking about what's happened in the past couple of weeks and the fact we haven't seen an actual correction from that, I wouldn't be surprised at all if the short-term TA just goes out the window here and we have a correction, and it actually would be very healthy for the market to have a correction. Potential areas of interest if we have a correction. Let's close that tab. Potential areas of interest if we do have a correction. Let's remove all of this right now, and we can just get a clean chart here and remove this as well. We will be looking at regions such as 53k, right? That would be an interesting place to make a pretty bullish higher low, right? But it isn't much of a correction, right? That's only a couple grand away. We would be looking as well at around 50.5k. Where is that? 50.5k would be an interesting place, which would play off of these highs we made back here in late August and early September, and also a flip we had here in October. That would be an interesting place to have a higher low. And then on a more, hefty correction, we could even be looking at something such as 48.8k or 48.7k. Below that point, we'll be looking kind of bearish, in my opinion, on BTC. We wouldn't want to go below 48.8k this late in the cycle. I think that would invalidate a lot of the cyclical theory as well, or try to at least. So ideally, we make that higher low above 48.8k if we are going to do it. That's not certain. The short-term chart certainly looks bullish, but supporting the fact that we might be seeing a correction is this long-term, well, not long-term actually, but only, a 4-day bearish divergence on the RSI here on the 4-hourly chart. We can see we're heading upwards in terms of price and heading downwards in terms of the RSI here. So that's, something to keep an eye on. But what we do have as well is the fact that we, if we do move upwards, if we do break to the upside and break 56k, we'll be seeing a bullish MACD cross, which actually will propel us even higher. So I would have my eyes on 60k. I said that before, but I'm going to say it more confidently now. If we do break to the upside above 56k, I would have my eyes on the 60k region within the next few days after that break, maybe even a couple of days, that would be an area of interest. And then from that point, from that 60-pay point, that's our last real resistance zone into all-time highs. So that'll be interesting to see. I do think we'll be seeing all-time highs before the end of the month here on Bitcoin. So, let's see how that plays out. I think that's going to be the case. If not the end of the month, very early November. We'll close this tab and we can bring up the one-day chart here on Bitcoin. Not really much to say about the one-day chart. We can see that we are just, really are consolidating quite well, or not consolidating, but ranging quite well in this ascending triangle. I do have this line here, this dotted line that I've drawn out, and I'll tell you what that's for right now. I'll make it orange for you and I'll turn it really big. All right, so this orange line essentially is the line we need to follow to reach my price prediction of 113k by December 27th. Now, I wanted to bring this up for two reasons. One reason is that, for people out there who believe we're going higher, there's many people in the market right now who are screaming for 250k, 300k. This is 113k by December. That's already pretty, optimistic, right? I wouldn't say it's optimistic. The cyclical theory suggests it, so I wouldn't say it's optimistic, but that was the wrong word. But that's already very sharp, right? There's not much room for correction. If we're going to go to 250k, which is what a lot of people are calling for, and they're calling for it by December, this is what Bitcoin would have to look like, right? That is what Bitcoin, and I'll remove that for you. Oh, let me draw that again. Right, this is what Bitcoin will have to look like if we go to 200k by the end of December. So we can see December 30th, right, around that region. That's unachievable, right? This is what I wanted to bring up, right? Stop being over-optimistic. You will not be rewarded by being over-optimistic in this market. You will be rewarded by being conservative. If you meet your price predictions and they are relatively conservative, you can take some profits, hold a little bit of your bags for the more optimistic target, but don't be sitting here waiting for 250k, because I can tell you right now, the 4-year cycle theory with diminishing returns does not suggest 250k this cycle at all, right? Not at all. 113k is what it suggests according to my calculations. Some people would calculate that slightly differently. But my method of calculation tells us 113k by December 27th, and you can see on this chart, even that, would be a bit of a feat, right? A bit of a feat. If we head over to the Bitcoin index on the 1 week, this is essentially a chart that shows us the history of Bitcoin back all the way back from 2010, but I've zoomed up here, and this is the 4-year cycle, right? So year 1 we have a bull run, year 2 we have a correction, year 3 we have a bottom, year 4 we have an accumulation, in year 1 we have a bull run. That's repeating over and over and over again. I've taken the data samples here, gone over this in previous videos. I've taken the samples and I've extrapolated the data, accounted for diminished returns, accounted for lengthening cycles, and I've added that on to Q4 this year, and we should be seeing 113k. If you want to see a full video explanation of that, going a bit more in depth, I have it. It's the pinned video on my channel. So go ahead and check that out if you want to see my price prediction. But we can see that Q4s are typically bullish. All right, what are we seeing? As soon as Q4 hit, we've jumped up 38% in 2 weeks. Right, so we've got a little bit to go. We can see that in order for us to reach our price target, we've got about 106%, 103%, whatever, in that region, 105% to go. Very achievable, right? We've got about 2.5 months to reach a 2x on Bitcoin. It seems very achievable to me. But again, if you say in words that 250k is only a 5x from 50k, it sounds achievable, but you have to remember that the market cap is absolutely enormous, and 2.5 months, a 5x on Bitcoin, the biggest crypto asset, in 2.5 months is a bit too optimistic in my opinion. So yeah, I'm looking at 113k. We can see that Q4's kicked in. We're starting to go up. Cyclical theory is playing out perfectly. We had a red September as expected. We retested the bull market support band as expected, as we've done every single September, and there was really no reason to be bearish at all in this entire cycle, right? Even when we dropped down to 29k, yes, it was unexpected to drop that low, but that's because we ran up way too early, right? We never run up that quickly that early in the cycle. We had a clear rounding top and we dropped down, but realistically we were just following the cyclical theory, right? That's where we should have been. We just corrected back to the norm. When we dropped down to 40k a couple of weeks ago, same thing, right? We've seen that every single September. We've seen harsh drops in September, but as long as we maintained above the 20-week SMA, which we did, we're still bullish in Q4, and we are still bullish in Q4, and I'm still expecting all-time highs in Q4 and altcoins to run into Q1. If we look into Ethereum here, We can see Ethereum on the daily chart. We're seeing this channel formation. And now I've gone over this channel a few times. It's just remained, not much interesting price action happening on Ethereum at the moment. But what we are seeing is an ascending channel is a channel of continuation. Usually breaks to the upside if you enter it from the bottom. So what we've seen here is a continuation pattern. We've entered it from the upside. We broke to the upside, right? We came back down, entered it from the entered it from the downside, broke to the upside. We came back down, we entered it from the upside, and we broke to the downside, right? It's a pretty clear continuation pattern. Now we've entered it from the downside, and the next logical step would be to break it to the upside. So I'm bullish on Ethereum as well. I think Ethereum, and I'll get into this in a second when we look at the Bitcoin dominance chart, I am bullish on it. I think we're going to be going to 4K by the end of this month. But we have to keep in mind that according to the Bitcoin dominance chart, according to what we've seen in the cycles prior to this one, altcoins and Ethereum will be lagging until Bitcoin tops out. So I'm expecting December 27th. Until that point, altcoins and Bitcoin will be lagging quite significantly, at least into early December. And that's happened previously. We can see here that in Q4 2017, where we saw similar price action, starting in October, which is what we're at now. We'll actually highlight this for you here. Starting in October, we pumped up on the Bitcoin dominance chart, which essentially tells us that Bitcoin gained control of the market. Money was rushing into Bitcoin as people were FOMOing into Bitcoin, and altcoins were left in the dust, basically. And then we only saw altcoins really start to perform well in early December into mid-January. So if we're going to follow that, what we should be seeing is pumping up on the Bitcoin dominance chart until at least early December, and then dumping all the way down here into mid-January, possibly early February, and then the market will top out and we'll be entering a bear market. Where am I expecting Bitcoin dominance chart to go? Somewhere in this orange region, right? This chart is in a general downwards trend. It has been since the inception. Obviously back here in 2015, it's 99% Bitcoin dominance, which represents the fact that, in 2015, there was only like 10 altcoins, right? So now there's thousands of altcoins, and obviously more money is spread into more places. So the general trend of this chart is downwards, which kind of leads me to believe that each bull market, we're going to be seeing lower lows on the Bitcoin dominance chart. This is a good chart to keep an eye on, by the way, if you're trying to predict the market cycle top. Once Bitcoin dominance heads below its previous all-time low, that's an area where you should be cautious, as the top is likely coming very soon, because when it drops very quickly, right? This is only a 5-week period where we drop down massively on Bitcoin dominance. So a 5-week period where altcoins performed very, very well, and then bear market for 3 years, right? So it's a very kind of fragile time in the market. You have to time yourself very, very well. But that's what we're seeing in the market in general. I will say that, and I've said it before in this video, I will say again, very bullish for the rest of Q4. Short term, I think we're going to be going upwards. The short-term charts suggest we're going to be going upwards, but I will say there are a number of bearish factors as well that would lead us to believe that we will be seeing a higher low. Either way, I'm unbothered, right? Because if we do see a correction, that would actually be healthy and give the market some breathing room, build us some support before moving upwards again. If we see Bitcoin continuing this trend and just going straight upwards, altcoins are going to get absolutely crushed because people are going to be selling their altcoins and for rushing into Bitcoin. Either they will get crushed or they will just go sideways or slightly upwards, right? We want to see step-by-step movements. This vertical upwards movement is not actually particularly healthy. It does show a lot of strength for Bitcoin, but if we want altcoins to perform well, we need to be moving in tranches, right? Step by step upwards, 2 steps forwards, 1 step back. That is the most bullish scenario. So I think it would be bullish either way, right? If we go upwards, yes, we're just going to be reaching our all-time high quicker on Bitcoin, and then, altcoin season will possibly come sooner or come, when Bitcoin's at a higher price. But if we go a little bit slower, take a step back, every couple of steps upwards, then what we can see is altcoins try as best as they can to keep in line with Bitcoin and actually move upwards as well, instead of just lagging behind like we've been seeing in the last couple of weeks. But that's my kind of my view on Bitcoin and Ethereum and the general market right now. Very bullish for the rest of Q4. I think December and January particularly are going to be massive months. I said in my Telegram discussion group, I've got a Telegram discussion group where everyone can share ideas now. I think November is going to be the biggest month for Bitcoin, and I think January is going to be the biggest month for altcoins. That's what's happened in previous cycles. I don't see a reason why that's not going to happen in this cycle. So, stick to the cyclical theory. It's held out this far. I think that people who are calling for 20K clearly don't know anything about the cyclical theory, right? Because we saw, I'll bring up the index again, and I've said this, and hold on, let me get the bull market support band up. I said This is what I said to you guys in August. I actually said it in July as well. I said, in September, no matter where we are, we're going to correct downwards and retest the bull market support band, right? We saw that in September 2013. We saw that in December 2017. And we're seeing that in this cycle. After a retest of the bull market support band, we generally head up to new all-time highs. We're seeing a strong bounce, a 38% bounce off of the bull market support band in the last, 10 days. And that would lead me to believe that all-time highs are underway for Bitcoin. There is a lot of evidence that we will be heading up in Q4 and very, very few bearish arguments remaining. So yeah, that's basically the video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you learned something about the current state of the market, show some support. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.